film is absolutely different and also very experimental. What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is OCD Movie Reviews. My name is Skinamarink, and today I'm going to review a movie that a lot of people have been talking about. This movie is very polarizing. Some people say this movie is one of the scariest movies they've ever seen in a long time, but other people say this movie is boring as shit. So this film is very polarizing. So what do I think of this film? Today I am going to review Skinamarink. This movie is an independent experimental horror film that is directed by Carl Edward Ball. Two children wake up in the middle of the night to find their father is missing, and all the windows and doors in their home have completely vanished. Now, a lot of people have been talking about Skinamarink. Some people said, once again, this is one of the scariest movies of this decade so far. And there are some other certain people where they find this movie really boring and they don't understand. Now, I love horror films. And I even love horror films that are trying to do something different. Like, this film definitely gives me a reminder when the Blair Witch Project came out. We all remember how big that movie was because it was something completely different. It's a found footage film. It's the first found footage film we've seen, and it's something that's completely different, so I can see Skinamarink trying to do something different here. Just from the trailers, I'm like, alright, I'm in for something original. I'm in for something pretty experimental and different. With all those polarizing reviews, I saw this film on Shudder. What do I think of this film? I find this film pretty polarizing for me, personally. There are some things that I liked about Skinamarink, but there are also some things I didn't like about this movie. But first, of course, let's get to what I like about this film. The atmosphere of this film. What this film was trying to do. This film is absolutely different and also very experimental. It's a film that tries to do something completely different that we haven't seen in other horror films, and I really appreciate what Kyle was doing with this film. This film is basically using the template of a very old video camera with the sound like an old video camera, with shots of walls and floors and even dark hallways. And the characters of the film, you don't see any character of this film. You do see like part of the kid's body, their foot, a bit of their head, but not their face. This film is trying to do something really different here, not seeing any of the characters in this film. You hear sound effects of the characters, you hear a bit of dialogue in this film where there are subtitles because it's an old video camera template, so you don't understand what they're saying, so they put subtitles on the bottom. And I'm just like, okay, I can see what Skinamarink was trying to do. And I do appreciate how different this movie is. And is the movie terrifying? Like, a lot of people saying this is one of the scariest movies in this decade. I would say there are parts in this movie that are actually really creepy in this film. Throughout the most part. There are some scary imagery in this film. There are some jump scares in the film where I did actually jump. But it's not in jump scares in a way where you've seen it many times before. It jump scares in a way where I'm like, alright, this is a different jump scare that I've never seen before. And I really appreciate the atmosphere of this film that Kyle was trying to do with this film. And if you don't know about this director, he has a YouTube channel which is pretty similar to this film with his short films, because he does short films quite similar like this. So I can see him trying to do something experimental and different, you know, when Paranormal Activity came out, or Blair Witch Project even came out, it's trying to do something completely different. So what I like about this film the most is how appreciative that this film is trying to be something different, and how experimental this film is. Now this is where I'm going to get to my flaws of this film, because I'm very mixed with this film overall. Because there are parts of this movie where I'm like, this is well done, and this is very creepy. But I'm going to be completely honest here. I think Skinamarink would have been so much better as a short film than a feature film. Because the atmosphere around the scares of the film, literally the first 40 minutes of this film is literally like this. Just boring shots of the floors, walls, there's even a shot of Legos on the floor. You get to see the kid's feet at a couple of scenes. That is literally most of this film. Just shots of the wall and there's even like a shot of like a TV showing an old children's TV show. That's most of this movie, and at times, at first, like the first 5 minutes, I'm like, what is going to happen? Like, I feel very tension-filled, but it drags on, where you just feel like, this film is getting pretty boring. And that's why I feel like a feature film for a concept like this honestly would not work, because of just the atmosphere around it. I feel like if they want to do a feature film, they need to bring tension throughout, like, most of the film. And most of the film is just like, oh,
we're supposed to make a feature film, what are we gonna do with it? Let's just put shots of floors, doors, and walls.
That's literally like the first like 40 minutes of this film. And the film just gets really freaking boring, and it has a very slow build up to the scares to come. And like I said with the dialogue of this film, there's not much dialogue in this film. There are some words that the kids say in the film, but there's also like a creepy ghosting in the film that explains a lot of lines in the film, and at parts it does get creepy. But there are certain parts of the film where the dialogue happens and there's no subtitles, and you don't understand the single word these characters are said. Where I'm just like, they should put subtitles there. Like, why didn't they put subtitles to that bit, but it put subtitles through the rest of the dialogue of this film? It's just really weird for me, and it's a big nitpick for me, because I'm like, I don't understand what this character is saying. So yeah, this film honestly is very mixed for me. There are bits that I liked about Skinamarink, and I understand why people say it's pretty scary, because this film is scary at a couple of moments, with the concept especially. But there are also parts of this film where I'm like, I don't understand. I find this film quite boring at most of the elements of the film, because I feel like this film would have been better as a short film, because throughout the feature film, it just feels like that Kyle doesn't know what to do with the story and stuff. It's just shots of walls and the floors and hallways and stuff. So overall, Skinamarink, I would say, is not a film for everybody. It depends who you are with watching this film. If you're like die-hard horror fans, you will love this film. But here's the thing with me. I find this film very polarizing. I appreciate a lot how experimental and different Skinamarink is. It is trying to do something different, and the director Kyle really tries with this film. And there are some certain imagery in the film where it was actually very terrifying in the film. There are scary bits in this film, but just the atmosphere around this film, it just gets very boring, and I much prefer this film as a short film than a feature film. So overall, Skinamarink, I would say give it a watch to get your own opinion out of it, because this is definitely one of the most interesting films that I've seen this year so far, but at the same time, it's pretty polarizing for me. So I am going to give Skinamarink a C. So guys, that is my review for a movie that everyone's been talking about, Skinamarink. Now, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this movie? Do you like this movie, hate this movie, or you thought it's okay? And do you find this film pretty scary, or you find this film boring? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media links down below. Facebook, Stardust, Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd. Keep contacting with me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, notified for my latest movie reviews and other movie related content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day.